Hey, what's up, guys? Geek Hustle is coming back at you with another figure review, and here to elaborate on how disappointing the Crash Bandicoot NECA figure truly is when it comes to the articulation. So before I go in on that, of course, you know how we do, man. Oh God, wait for it. Of course, you know how we do, man. Going into my history with how I feel about, the characters that I talk about on the channel. Just like I said with Sonic the Hedgehog on the previous upload, I had a huge childhood with Crash Bandicoot, as you've heard many times from other YouTubers, I'm pretty sure. I grew up playing Crash Bandicoot 1. Oh boy. Crash Bandicoot 2. My first big fear as a child was the unbearable stage from Crash 2. If you play that game, you know what I'm talking about. I got the mess scared out of me by that large polar bear. I'm not afraid to admit that. And never played Crash 3 for PlayStation 1. Never played that. We kind of just skipped over to Crash CTR for some reason. I guess it was too expensive at the time. I'm not sure. But I did grow up with those three games. I also played those weird PlayStation 2 games, Crash Wrath of Cortex, Crash Twinsanity, the god-awful Crash of the Titans, Crash Mind Over Mutant. I remember getting that game for my birthday and just being so disappointed. I hated Crash of the Titans and Mind Over Mutant. I played a lot of the Crash Bandicoot Game Boy Advance ports, DS ports, the Game Boy Advance games like Huge Adventure, Entranced. I saw a lot of Crash Bandicoot stuff on the internet. If anybody remembers, there was this weird Outcast Bandicoot show that somebody made on YouTube. It was weird. It was like this fan-made series, and I think it was focused on Crunch. Like, if anybody remembers that, you can let me know in the comments if you choose to. But I watched all that all the way through, and I thought it was cool when I was a kid. I don't know about the animation now. That Flash animation might not have aged well, but it was cool. It was focused on my favorite Crash character, Crunch. And yeah, man, Crash Bandicoot, I also drew him a crap ton. I was really obsessed with Crash along with Sonic the Hedgehog, Ratchet and Clank, and Goku. That was my childhood, man. But anyway, yeah. Now, to go in on the company that made this figure, and that is NECA. This is the first NECA figure that I've actually gotten. I do plan on buying a ton of their figures because I do like the aesthetic effort that they put into their figures. It looks really, really good. And they are doing these Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie figures as well. If anybody had seen those in the Toy Fair this year, I'm really, really hyped and excited for those. Look out for those on the channel sometime around this year. Depends. Just need to get the money for those. So, yeah, man. I like NECA so far, but there's a kind of a problem that I'm going to be addressing with how they do their figures later on in the video. I don't know if they do this with all their figures since I'm really new to NECA, but I have seen this problem kind of carry over. So, yeah. I also noticed that the toy line, the figure line or whatever, for the Crash Bandicoot NECA figures pretty much failed because we were supposed to be getting a Coco and a Cortex, but we didn't get it. Instead, we just got like a bunch of different versions of the same character, really. No Crunch, no Tiny. We didn't get Coco and Cortex, of course, like I said before. No Ripperoo. Just none of those characters. We just got like Jetpack. Oh my god. Jetpack Crash. Scuba Diving Crash. Another Crash just like this, only with interchangeable faces and an Aku Aku mask. Hoverboard Crash. And that was it. Just 5 Crash Bandicoot figures. That is literally it. A few of which I'm going to buy. But still, that's literally it. No other characters. So the line, from what I've seen on Twitter, completely failed. Nobody was really... I guess at the company, nobody really had any faith in the Cortex and Coco figures. They look kind of off to me anyway, so I'm kind of glad that they didn't release. Maybe one day we'll get them back. So... yeah, man, enough of my rambling, man. Let's go in on the sculpt, and I have to say the sculpt is really, really good. It looks just like how Crash currently looks right now in the remastered games, like Insane Trilogy, which I've platinumed all 3 games. I've completed all 3 of them. I'm a Crash nut, man. What did you expect? And Nitro Fuel, that new Nitro Fuel remaster, which I still have yet to play. The sculpt does look pretty good. The shoes are big and cartoony looking as they should look. The pants, those are good. They have this kind of rubbery material around them, and you can also see the strap, the little lacing around the pants, keeping the pants on. I also like the sculpting of the gloves. I really like how they did the fingerless gloves. These definitely look good. It's one of my favorite parts of the figure when it comes to the sculpt. And also, I like how the eyebrows, you can't move the eyebrows, but we'll be going into the articulation later. The eyebrows also look really well sculpted. I remember they kept bragging about the eyebrows being able to move. Whatever, it's not a big deal. I mean, you can make him look kind of shocked at how bad his articulation is. And you can have him angry at NECA for canceling his figure line too early and doing way too many versions of the same character. That is very disappointing. Oh man. So next up, the face is also really good. The face is very accurate how Crash looks like right now. You can also see that one pupil is smaller than the other one. I do like that. That's cool. And also, the sculpt in the mouth is also really good. It's not sloppy. And I expect the paint to be pretty good on NECA because for years I've seen their figures and they are really good at painting and sculpting, man. They definitely care about the aesthetics. The hair is a little bit messy when it comes to the paint, but the sculpt of it does not feel cheap. It does look pretty accurate as well, from what I can tell here. And the shading is where this figure kind of falls apart. The shading is placed in the weirdest places possible. I don't have a problem with the shading on the face, but it does look kind of weird on the arms, and it looks really, really weird on the back. What is this? What is that? Like, come on, NECA. Like, I know y'all can do better than this. What is that? Looks like a baby smeared diarrhea all over the back. Not to get too nasty here, but seriously, that just looks bad. Like, thankfully, I'm not going to be looking at the back when I display this guy on my shelf, but come on, man. That just looks just bad. It's not terrible. It's not the worst shading I've ever seen. Come on, man. But I remember somebody on YouTube at one point, I think his name was Kyle's Game Room, he said that he looks like a burnt gremlin from the back. Yeah, you couldn't be more right about that. Yeah, I just don't like how the shading looks on the back. I don't think anybody really agreed with how the shading was done on the back. Oh man, but you're not going to be looking at the figure from the back all the time, so I'm going to give the sculpt about an 8.5 out of 10. I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10. Oh yeah, and also you can see the belly button and the fur on the chest. That is sculpted pretty decently. I wish this was like painted black. Just me being a nitpicky Crash fan. Nothing that you should really even consider right there. That criticism is kind of small. But anyway, I'll give the sculpt like an 8.5 out of 10. It's not 100% aesthetically perfect, especially when it comes to the shading and the hair is painted a little sloppily. Not too bad, but not that great. You know what? I might push it up to 9 out of 10 when it comes to sculpt, just because how accurate he is to the current rendition of Crash Bandicoot now. So I'll give the sculpt like a 9 out of 10, around that. And besides, you're not going to be looking at the figure from the back, so it's it's not that big of a deal when it comes to the shading on the back, even though it's still crap. So moving on to the amazing articulation, head articulation. There you go. That's all I get. There's no looking up. There's no looking to the side. You can kind of do it, but unless you want to snap the head off, yeah, go ahead and force it. But you get nothing. There's no range of motion there. Really, really tight, super tight articulation. Really stiff too. Shoulder joint goes about like this, so I guess you can kind of put them into a spinning pose. Dang man, it feels like I'm gonna break it. There we go. Okay, there we go. Yeah, you can have them spin. There we go. Also, elbow articulation is kind of there, but can't really do much with it. It goes in about this much. You can't go back. There is an elbow swivel that is good. It's good. Wrist articulation is also good, but you can't make it go in and out. Same thing here. There are no loose joints to be seen here, which impressive. Like I kind of mentioned earlier, you can articulate the eyebrows, something that NECA kept talking about. You can put them up and put them down a little bit. Not really a big deal. Who cares about that, honestly? I think it's kind of a cool feature, but I don't imagine too many people caring about that. Waist articulation, you know, he can go all the way around, but, you know, it looks kind of weird because his chest doesn't match with the abs at all when it comes to, like, articulating him all around. So yeah, I can't really do much with that. Waist articulation is not that good. I mean, it's fine, but it doesn't really match up with the look of the figure. You know what I mean? It just doesn't work. Leg articulation is non-existent. You can kind of make it go to the side a little bit, but I feel like I'm gonna break it. I'm not even gonna force it. And as you saw at the beginning of the video, he was in a running pose. I did manage to get him into that pose. You can do that if you want, but it's still kind of limited, man. You also have some lower shin articulation right here, which is kind of, it's fine, you know, nothing bad. You know, Crash, he has really big feet, so ain't no way for him to, like, fall or anything. Like, depending on how you pose him anyway. Yeah, he's gonna fall if I pose him like this. If you kind of, like, move the, you know, the ankle articulation to a certain place, you know, he'll stand up pretty well. So it's not hard to balance this guy at all. The leg articulation is just non-existent. It's not too tight. It's not like, it's not, you know, there's nothing wrong with it when it comes to like any factory errors. No, it's just made like this. Like the leg articulation, oh my God, I can talk. The leg articulation really sucks. I really don't like it. There's no ankle pivot. There's, no rocker to be seen here. You know, you can just kind of swivel the shoes around a little bit, and that's pretty much it. There's no waist articulation either, right here. But no torso. No, there's no torso articulation. There's kind of like waist articulation right here, but that's not even a waist. That's like the upper part of the chest. So excuse me for calling it waist articulation before. That's like the upper part of the torso, really. But that's about it. The articulation is very limited, so I will give the articulation about a 5.5 out of 10. It's nothing terrible, but it's nothing great either. It works, but the articulation around the legs does not work at all. There's no head articulation at all. I think on the deluxe Crash Bandicoot figure that comes with the Aku Aku mask, you do get some like head articulation, which was pretty good from what I've seen. But yeah, I don't think I'll be buying that figure anyway. Yeah, but that's about it. That's the Crash Bandicoot NECA figure, and I'll give the figure an overall score of I'll give it like a 7.9 out of 10. Honestly, that's how I feel about it. I'm not giving it anything higher than that. Sure, it does look like Crash. I'm impressed by the look. Oh yeah, this figure is $20 from what I've seen. I think the price has gone down significantly on Big Bad Toy Stores. So if you want to go ahead and shoot your shot by getting your own or any Crash figure for that matter, you can do that. Yeah, I would say don't expect too much from the articulation. Now, the sculpt is good, like I said. Also, I like how the shoelaces are sculpted on the shoes. I forgot to mention that earlier. And as you've already noticed, I don't have the box with me. I was so excited to get this figure out of the package that I just threw the box away, unfortunately. I think I have the background somewhere around here, but I forgot about it. Don't worry about it. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I got for y'all on this review for today. Wow. I wouldn't look out for more Crash reviews on the channel. I mean, maybe, but don't expect them instantly, though. We'll see. But, yeah, that's pretty much all I got for y'all today on the channel. Post comments down below if you choose to. Subscribe for more if you choose to. Hit the notification bell if you choose to. And, yeah, that's all I got for y'all today. Geek Hustlers out.